Hi friends, welcome back. If you're new here, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. I do not want to talk about grocery prices. However, I do know the struggles that some of you are having right now. Please take advantage of any resources that are available in your area. Food shelves, food banks, same thing. Area churches, some of them also have donations for you that are available. They are there to help you. Today I have some budget-friendly meals for you. These are meals that I frequently make for my family. I hope your family really likes these. Now that's enough dishing, let's get to cooking. I'm gonna make some Cheeseburger Mac. First thing I need is 1 pound of ground hamburger. And I have ground turkey. I'm gonna show you how to make ground turkey taste more like ground hamburger. Mash this up, and you want it to get nice and brown. To give this more of a beef flavor, you can add 1 beef bouillon cube or 1 teaspoon of beef bouillon, or you can add a teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce. Tell me I said that right. I didn't have to ask anybody. I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of Worcestershire. And then you need about half of an onion diced. I do not have any, but I have some onion flakes that I'm just going to sprinkle about that much. It's about a tablespoon. That's probably about half a tablespoon actually. Mash that up. This looks good. This is ground turkey, so there isn't as much grease as there is in ground hamburger. So I am just going to cook this until the liquid evaporates. Again, ground turkey is leaner, so there isn't a lot of grease. You can strain the cooked hamburger in a colander like this. Just put a bowl underneath it to catch the grease. This will allow the grease to drain from the meat. You could also choose to use a paper towel, just fold it up and grab it with a pair of tongs. Then just use the paper towel to absorb all the grease. Here's a budget cooking tip for you. I cooked up 1 pound of meat. I'm going to split that in half, approximately. I'm going to put half of it in a container and let it cool down. Then I'm going to put it in the freezer, and then I can have it for another dish. Just a half a pound of ground meat with some onion in there, and I use that quite frequently, so I'm not going to have a hard time finding a use for that. All right, so that's half and half. Next, I have a saute pan, and I'm just going to put the meat, half of the meat that I cooked, in the pan. I could have just browned my meat in there, but I didn't want all of that in there. I know you could, but I didn't want it, but you can. I have a half of a pound of ground meat with onion cooked. I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of cornstarch, 2 teaspoons of paprika, 1 teaspoon of onion powder, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1 teaspoon of seasoned salt, 1/8 of a teaspoon of black pepper, 1 teaspoon of sugar, 1 cup of hot water. I'm going to start stirring this. 2 cups of milk, and I just have skim milk. 1.5 cups of the elbow pasta. You can use any kind of pasta that you like. It's just what I'm using. Stir that in. I'm going to put this on a medium-high heat and bring it to a boil. All right, it's come to a boil, and I'm going to reduce the heat to a low-medium. Then I'm going to simmer for 8 to 10 minutes until the pasta is cooked. And in case you do not know what a simmer looks like, that's it. It's been 8 minutes. I'm going to try one noodle. It still feels a little bit firm. I'm going to give it another 1.5 minutes. It's been 1.5 minutes. I'm going to stir this. Try it again. Don't worry, I have a clean fork, not a double dipper. All right, this is good. The noodles are a little al dente, which is okay. If you want to let it cook another 30 seconds, it's fine. I shut my heat off, and then we're going to add some cheese. I have 1 cup of sharp cheddar cheese. Stir that in until it melts. And then it'll be ready just like this. If you want to do some add-ins, you definitely could. You could add some bacon if you have some 1 or 2 sliced of cooked bacon. You could add a couple slices of that chopped up. And then if you want to make this more like a chili mac, you could add 1 can of Rotel and like a teaspoon of chili powder. If you are picky and you do not like the Rotel, or if you have picky eaters and they don't like the chunks in it, just add the chili powder. If you want to make this a little creamier, you can add about half of a cup to 2/3 cup of sour cream. Otherwise, this is good to go just like this. You can serve this with a side salad or a vegetable, like green beans and broccoli are really good with this. Just on the side. I'm going to remove this from the heat and let it sit for 5 minutes to cool down a little bit and thicken up. And that's how you make cheeseburger mac. For dinner tonight, I am making skillet lasagna. They do not have to be the oven ready noodles. The regular ones are fine. All right, I need 12 noodles and I need to break them all. Wash my hands and I just need to break them. So that's fun. Be careful because sometimes they like to fly up and hit you in the face. I feel like I should be wearing goggles. You want them about that size. I'm just gonna break them all up and I'll be back. Those are all broken up and I'm just gonna set those aside until I need them. Next, I'm going to make a garlic butter spread for garlic bread. And I went to soften my butter for 30 seconds and I overdid it because it's melted, which is fine. It'll still work. I've done it before. I use half of a stick of butter. You can use margarine. I do half of a teaspoon of minced garlic from the jar. I'm going to start with 1 tablespoon of the shaky can Parmesan. And 1 teaspoon of parsley flakes. I'm just going to use a knife, mix it up. I think that's enough Parmesan. I'm going to make skillet lasagna in my electric skillet. You could also make this on a stovetop. I'm going to plug this in and get it turned on. If you're using your stovetop, you want this on a medium-high heat. I am going to turn this to, let's go 375. If it gets too hot, I'll turn it down. I'm going to start with the extra half a pound of ground turkey. You could also use ground hamburger. You can use 1 pound if you'd like. This is half of a pound that I had left over from the Cheeseburger Mac. Already cooked, and this will go a lot faster. If you have raw hamburger, you have to cook it first. I'm going to add 1.5 teaspoons of minced garlic from the jar. Then you need 26 ounces of pasta sauce. I have a can of pasta sauce. It is 24 ounces. I'm going to add 2 more ounces with some kind of liquid. Wipe off the lid. All right, there's my pasta sauce. And there's still pasta sauce in the can. I also need to add 1 2/3 cup of water. I am just going to add some water in here and swirl it around, just get all of the sauce. You do not want to waste any. If you need a little more in there, you can. Just do it all. And then 1/4 cup of Italian dressing. I have the house Italian. Put that in. It sounds weird, but it's really good in here. You can use any kind if you have the zesty Italian. I think there's a roasted pepper Italian dressing. I've used that before too. I have just a little bit of Italian dressing in here, so I'm just going to add that. 2 ounces is 4 tablespoons, so I'm just going to add 4 tablespoons of Italian dressing. If this runs out, which it probably will, I'm just going to add water into the bottle, shake it up. Again, we want to get all that we can. Yep, not quite. I've added water to my bottle and shake it up really good. We're not going to waste anything here. All right, so this is my 2nd tablespoon. And 3. Get a mess. That is perfect. I don't think I've ever been that perfect with my measurements before. Stir this up and let this come to a boil. All right, it's coming to a boil right there. I'm going to add the pasta so it's broken up. Stir it. Just make sure all the pasta is covered in liquid. Then we're going to cover this and cook it on a medium low. So we're going to turn the heat down. I'm going to go down to 300. Then we're going to cover this and cook 10 to 15 minutes. Stir occasionally. While I wait for the pasta to cook, I'm going to make some garlic bread. I had some day-old Italian bread from Walmart that I was going to use, but it was starting to grow a little fuzz, so I had to throw that away. However, I do have some sliced bread that will work. I put the garlic spread on and I'm going to bake this at 375 degrees for 8 to 10 minutes. All right, it's been 10 minutes and I had to put my apron on because this sucker is spitting everywhere. Stir it. All right, I'm gonna try one of the noodles. It could go a little bit longer. If you notice that it's starting to maybe get a little too dry, just add a little bit of water. I'm gonna let it cook about 3 more minutes. This part is optional. If you have some cottage cheese, you can add anywhere from half of a cup to 1 cup and stir that in. The recipe calls for 1 cup of mozzarella cheese. That's really up to you. It's good without the cheese. This doesn't look like a lot just because the pan isn't quite full, but if you're making this in a skillet on the stovetop, it'll be pretty full. So it is quite a bit. There's 4 of us eating tonight and there will be leftovers. So cover that and let it sit for 5 minutes just on warm. This is what it looks like. I'm serving this with a side salad and garlic toast, and that's dinner tonight. I'm going to make rice-a-roni, or the generic rice-a-roni, in my pressure cooker. I'm gonna plug it in. I'm just gonna put this on sear. There's a sear roast button, and then I'm going to put 1 tablespoon of butter. I'm going to take out the packet of seasoning and set that aside for now. All right, my butter is starting to melt a little bit, and I'm going to pour in just the rice. Then we'll cook this for 1 to 2 minutes, just until the rice starts to turn brown. Just keep stirring, just keep stirring. They do not have to get real dark. If you just want them a little bit golden, that's fine too. They will cook exactly the same, whether you burn them or not. Yes, we have, I know. All right, it's been about 2 minutes. I could let this go another 30 seconds, but I'm not going to. Add 1.5 cups of water. And then stir that a little bit. I'm gonna shut the sear off, and then I will put the lid on and get this set up to cook. All right, I'm gonna put this on the chicken setting. Time cook. I'm gonna put this on for 12 minutes. All right, I did a quick release on this. Now I'm going to stir in, I'm gonna pour in the season packet. And since I'm making chicken flavor, I'm going to add in some chopped chicken that I have pre-cooked. If you are making beef flavor, you can always add some ground beef or ground turkey even, that's fine too. I have about 1 cup here. I would try, if I was doing a hamburger or ground turkey, I would only do half of a pound. Stir that in. You can heat it up for just a couple of minutes in here. Just put it back on the sear roast and heat it up. If you need to add a splash of water, that's fine, just so it doesn't dry out. But other than that, that is how you make rice-a-roni in the pressure cooker. Thanks for joining me today. Do you have any budget-friendly meals that your family loves? Let us all know in the comments down below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.